I'm tired of playing my favorite tabletop RPGs as one of the old boring races. I don't want those generic, store-brand backstories. I want to roll a character with a bit more character. Well, Roll for Combat is here to help with their incredible new book, Battle Zoo Ancestries Classic Creatures, which gives you the power to create the character of your dreams. Dig into 12 unique playable monster races in this beautifully printed, massive, hard-cover book filled with in-depth descriptions, abilities, lore, and more. Send that dusty old dwarf right back to the mines and live out your isekai fantasy by becoming an actual intelligent weapon that you wield yourself. Or you could let a friend grab you instead. Teamwork. Put that elf back on the shelf and become a sentient dungeon, complete with traps, treasures, and a living avatar. You could even put an end to the age of man and become a shape-shifting mimic. You know, those things that gave you trust issues ever since you were eaten by one in Dark Souls? Ooh, that could be you. Click the link below or head on over to battlezoo.com to secure your copy of Battle Zoo Ancestries Classic Creatures today and become the life of your adventuring party.
And the last mini topic that I saw was that the Dragonlance live action series got canceled.
So it wasn't canceled because I don't know.
Wasn't?
Well, I don't know if it would ever started. So.
Oh, okay, that could be the case, but we officially know it's not happening though, right? Because didn't Manganiello specifically say it's done? So
the rumor is that Joe Manganiello, whatever, I can't even pronounce his last name.
Manganiello.
Manganiello. Okay, Joe Manganiello. Thank you. Now I know how to say it forever. Joe Manganiello is that he wrote a plot for Dragonlance, and that the project never got that far. It was going to be with E1, which was owned by Hasbro at the time, and that it was supposedly very fantastic. It was awesome. It was the best thing ever. They had a 1,000-page lookbook, which is a big collection of photos for creative people, so they know how to create the armor, the weapons, the clothing. I promise this is the last topic, but I want to talk about this because my brother is a costume designer in Hollywood, and he did the last Ghostbusters movie, so I actually know a lot about this topic, so I just want to talk about it from my point of view, because I've been seeing a lot of people's takes on this, and everyone's wrong, so I'm just telling you right now, you're all wrong. I'm going to tell you what really happened. So this is it. These scripts, Joe, no offense to Joe, and he's like, the script is fantastic. It's one of the best scripts ever. I want you all to go out there and get a script of whatever movie you like. Heck, I'd say get a script for a movie that is okay. I'll give you a perfect example. Conan the Destroyer. Not Conan the Barbarian, Conan the Destroyer. Second movie in that franchise. The script for Conan the Destroyer, which I've read, is absolutely incredible. I couldn't put it down. I'm like, this is so freaking good. This is way better than the first movie. The script is 1% of a project, okay? You have so many things when you make a TV series or a movie. My brother who works on these, he always tells me he's amazed these ever get done. It's just like there's hundreds of people working on this thing, all in different departments that all have to come together to make this perfect souffle. And if even one of them goes wrong, you know, you can have something as stupid as they don't film on film stock anymore. You film on the wrong film stock, and then the color shifts, and then it ruins the picture. You have someone who's sick that day who couldn't show up, and they only have them for a certain amount of time, so they have to rewrite a scene, and that was an important scene. There's so many things that go wrong and can go right on a set. Is that having a fantastic script? I hate to break it to you. Every movie ever made, Hollywood, big budget, they all have fantastic scripts. Every single one of them. That doesn't mean they're going to make good movies. It doesn't mean they're making good TV shows. They often all have really, really good scripts. The other thing is, fantasy will cost, we'll say $100, it's going to be $150 million. I'll say $100 million. I'll be generous. This will cost $100 million. So they make this and they spend $100 million to make Dragonlance. How do you make your money back? Does anyone know? I'm just curious. Do you guys actually know? Like, okay, I just made a series. I just spent $100 million. I have a whole series. Now what? Now what do I do with it?
You have to like sell it to the different streaming services?
Correct. So you could sell it to either network TV. You could sell it overseas, or you could sell it to streaming services. Now, that's traditionally, it used to be you would sell it to network TV, and network TV makes money by running advertisements. The production company makes money because they get paid for it, plus they get a percentage of the advertising. If they go 3 seasons or make 100 episodes, it can become syndicated, and that's where the real money's at. If you become syndicated, you can make hundreds of millions, and that's where you do repeats, and it shows on different channels throughout the world. So the goal for anything is always to become syndicated. That's actually the goal of all TV shows. In the streaming world, I won't get into it, but streaming has basically destroyed the model, so no one gets paid anymore because of the way streaming works, which is why...
That's why all the strikes were happening, because it was a big issue.
Yes, you're 100% right. And streaming has basically been built to destroy the model so that no one gets paid anymore. So they spend $100 million on this. They then have to find someone who will pay $100 million, $150, $200 million or more to then buy it from them and put it on their streaming service. And Hasbro probably felt like, yeah, I really don't want to spend $100 million, $150 million on something that we might not sell and lose all that money.
That makes sense for why they would have not canceled, not the right word, stop moving forward, whatever the thing that they chose to do of not doing it.
Yeah. So I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for everyone who wanted this to happen.
It sounded like he poured a huge amount of like effort and passion into it up until that point.
No, he did. But you know what?
And he had like a 1,000-page thing that had been like vetted by the authors of Dragonlance and other stuff.
Yeah, but that's all standard. Okay, none of this is like that. That is, my brother always gets a lookbook. He often will make the lookbook. And then it'll be used throughout for like everyone, like the special effects people and the people who do like the secondary costumes or do the set dressing, or the costume design. Sorry, he does costume. He doesn't do the pieces, jewelry. Like he doesn't do that stuff. So that will go. So he'll make the lookbook usually himself. So none of this is. I feel terrible for Joe. But everyone who's saying, "Oh, how dare they not make it?" It's like, okay, if you have,
it seems like a standard thing that could happen.
I'm like, if you have $150 million, I'm sure, and you call up Joe and say, "Joe, I will produce this for you. Do you want to make it?" I bet you it'll be made. So if anyone's out there who has that much money and wants to do this, give Joe a call. I bet you it'll be made. Until then, don't hold your breath.